Oh my god, hello again. What did I want to talk to you about? Oh, I wanted to talk to you about the sort of the supplies and stuff that I use. I don't know why you need to know this, but why you might want to know this stuff. It's like not like I'm famous or anything. Yeah, okay, cool. Supplies that I use in my creative practice, if you will. First off, I use an acoustic guitar. This is a thing that I've played pretty much every day, almost every day for the past like year or so. So this is my current acoustic. I got this sometime in the summer. I want to say June, maybe July, probably June. I think it was in June. I got it from Lon McQuaid in Belleville. Drove up to get it. That was pretty good. And the current one that I use is a CF Martin. This is a CF Martin. They're built for more flat picking than necessarily strumming. So they're built more for like flat picking as opposed to anything else. What I really liked about it is that the neck on it felt very similar to the neck on my electric guitar. I don't play my electric guitar all that much because I have to plug it in. There's more setup required in order to get going with it, whereas I tend to make everything on my acoustic first. So yeah, so this is my main guitar. My only acoustic at this point in time is this. It's a Dreadnought Junior. It's a CF Martin Dreadnought Junior. This one was made at the factory in Navajo in Mexico. And I got this. Originally I went in, I was thinking about getting like a Gibson J45 or something like that because I wanted something that you could strum with. I was also considering a Martin D18. I'm a little crazy, so like that probably wasn't the best idea for like a beginner in something because those guitars are like $2,000 to $3,000 at least in Canada. And that's a big outlay if you're somebody who, like me, who's like just getting into like songwriting and playing guitar after taking like a 20-year break. So I looked around through what was available in the shop, and this guy was hanging on the wall. This was actually on sale. This was just under $1,000 when I got it, and this isn't even the most expensive thing that I own. The most expensive thing that I own is my record player, which I think is hilarious that the thing I make music on is worth slightly less than the thing that I play music on, other people's music on. And so like that to me is like hilarious. Anyways, that's a funny story. But yeah, so I have this Martin acoustic. This is what I play. It's a Dreadnought Junior, so it's a little bit smaller than an actual Dreadnought. But it's got the nice neck on it that I really enjoy playing. Very smooth, very soft, very it allows me to do the things that I like to do, which are like short little slides, a little bit of like pull off and hammer on sort of action, and I really enjoy that about it. Previous to this, I was using like a $300 Yamaha cutaway, and I had the cutout on it. It was nice. It was a very nice guitar. It had a tuner built into the top of it, which was actually super convenient because it meant I didn't have to like buy a tuner separately. I really liked that about it, especially if you went to like a place to play where they might not have a tuner on the floor. It was very handy to be able to just, you know, turn on your tuner on the actual guitar and not have to worry about it. So yeah, it was a Yamaha something or other. It was a smaller body guitar. It was, I want to say, slightly smaller than this, slightly a little bit more narrow, and it was a cutaway, which was interesting to like try to learn how to play again because the first guitar I ever bought when I was 18, so like 20 years ago, I walked into a Steve's Music in Ottawa. I bought a Yamaha, and it was very similar to this Martin that I have actually. It was very nice. It didn't have a cutaway, and it was just, you know, the standard setup that you would have on a guitar, but it was great. It was fantastic. I loved it. I played that thing all the time. I was a very heavy sort of strummer. I still am, I guess, a heavy sort of strummer at times. And so it was just perfect. I really enjoyed it. And so I had that guitar up until until a couple years ago, probably 2024. Yeah, like in May of 2024 or something, I moved out of my apartment in Montreal, and I think I left it behind in the closet, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that was a guitar that I owned. I had that for 20 years, and the entire time I had it, I always used the Dario Phosphor Bronze strings on it. I always used the light gauge, which is 0.12 to 0.53. And so that was my main setup. So when I got the new Yamaha, that's exactly what I put on. It was these Dario strings. And even when I got this guy, that's the first thing I put on it, because that was what I did. And then after like, I want to say like a month or so of doing that, I actually switched the strings that I had. So I switched to these Dario Silk and Steel. These are fantastic. They are, I think it's a silk core with the steel wrapped around it. So they're very soft to like touch and play, and you don't have to press down on them as hard as you might with like the Phosphor Bronze. And so that was fantastic. I used the light gauge of these, so the light gauge on these is actually lighter than the Phosphor Bronze. So it's 11 to 47 is what are on here, and that's been like a huge help in terms of playing. So that's sort of the setup that I have there. That's the setup that I have there. Recently, the most recent acquisition that I got was I got a new capo. I got one of these old-timey capos because I found that the current capo that I was using, which I'll show you in a moment, but it's just the standard capo. It clips on and then you roll it up and down the neck. I really like having this because it just feels better. It just feels nicer as I've tried it on the guitar than using what I used to use was this Ernie Ball clip-on capo, just quick clip or whatever the hell they call it. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly serviceable. It's just it didn't feel as good to me on the acoustic. I still use this on the electric if I need to, if I feel like I need one. So that's what I have there. I got also a clip-on Dario tuner, just a standard tuner. It's a battery operated one, but it's great because it just works off vibrations, so you don't have to worry about anything else beyond that. Next up, I used to try to play more slide guitar stuff. There was a brief period where I got very into the Rolling Stones, and they tend to use a lot of like slide, what I would call a slide guitar tuning. And so I had picked up a couple at the time. I used to have a metal one and I had this glass one that stayed with me. So I've kept the glass one, and I'll try it out at some point in time going forward. And then mostly I use my hand to sort of like strum the strings. I just find on the acoustic especially that it just feels better. And it also allows me, if I need to flip into any sort of finger picking that I might want to do. Because I always find if I'm using a pick and then I'm trying to do something where I have to put the pick away, that it throws off the way that I'm using my hand. And that's just like a practice thing more than anything. But yeah, I use these cat tongue picks that I got. So this is a 0.53 cat tongue pick. It's pretty good. I like them because they're very flexible. I use this more with like electric guitar than I do with this. But I do also have these Ernie Ball Prodigy 2.0 millimeter stiff picks. Like this is a very thick, very stiff pick. I got this because I was like, at some point in time, I might want to get into learning how to do like bluegrass picking, which I suck at, but because I haven't practiced. And so I would like to at some point in time get into that. So I have these like really heavy, thick picks for it, because the thing that I learned from simply watching people talk about it is that you need to have like a much better pick, or a much more sturdy pick than you might use in anything else. So generally I like to have at least the least resistance or the least force on my sort of picking as possible, and I like to have the least amount of barrier borders between me and the actual strings, which still doesn't mean that I'm a good or a competent guitarist. It just means that that's how I prefer to play. And so yeah, that's my little gear setup for acoustic. I could talk about electric at some point in time, but I think I would also have to play some electric stuff for you. So until then, that's my current setup as a, you know, creator, if you will, of music. As this is the thing that I have. I do have a strap for it. I can show you that when I show you the electric stuff. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I do have a strap for it that I use, and yeah, this, like, since I've gotten this, I think I've played it almost every single day. There's been a few days where I just maybe have been out doing stuff, or I haven't felt like playing music at all, and so those were days where I chose not to pick it up. But I think outside of that, like, in the entire time that I've had it, since like June, so roughly 6 months by this point in time, I think there's maybe like a week's worth of time where I haven't picked it up for even like 10 minutes every day, just to play it. And I've definitely played it more since I switched to the silk and steel strings over the phosphor bronze ones. So that was like a huge help, and I really enjoyed them. I really enjoy these strings, and it's just fantastic. So that's my gear stuff.